Hello, hello. We are live at the first tribal council of the merge for the blue game. So approaching the tribal council area is now our merged blue tribe. We've got Andy, Connor, Joe, Louie, Caitlin, Ethan, Anthony, Casey, Mel, and Francis.
Connor, congratulations for winning our first individual immunity challenge. Sorry about that. How does it feel to come out on top?
It's nice to have safety.
How do you feel about getting food and having to share it? Happy to share the love, or wish you weren't put in the position to make that decision?
I'm happy to share the love. I'm obviously happy to eat. I wish I wasn't put in the position.
So, yes to both. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Joe, how do you feel being somebody that, I know, is there anything we can do about this, or no? Yeah. The smoke is just going right.
We can just call upon the power of the wind to move. No.
Okay.
Nothing to do.
Sorry about that. Okay. Joe, how do you feel about being somebody that was selected to share in the reward?
Yeah, I was honored to get selected. I wasn't expecting that, so always a nice surprise. I'm happy to get a little food for myself.
Andy, do you feel like getting selected puts any pressure on you? Do you think there's going to be anybody that's maybe jealous that you get the food and you don't?
Probably, but I'm thrilled to be here with him. He said he'd like to get to know us more, so
Yeah.
it's really fortunate to be on the tribe.
Yeah. And Andy, you specifically are coming back into the game after already have been voted out. Is that going to be something that really changes your strategy moving forward, or are you still just kind of trying to stay true to who you are and how you play the game?
Bingo.
Bingo? Okay. We got some whispering going on over here. Anthony, do you care to share with the group what you're discussing?
This is my first tribal council where I'm being voted out. So
Okay.
I think it's
Bold to announce to the group. Maybe they would have forgotten if you didn't announce.
I don't think so.
So, are you nervous that you're potentially on the hot seat then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm been nervous this whole game, even when I had immunity. So
Okay.
It's a very difficult game. So.
Okay. Casey, you are one of only 2 people now that do not have a loved one here in this game. How much pressure does that put on you to form connections?
It's interesting. Last night, I can't tell if, it had to be a mix of like a bunch of different things going on. I was incredibly fatigued from like 17 hours, like a 17-hour day. It was nighttime, it was freezing, it was crazy rain, some of the craziest rain I've ever had. And then on top of that, my sister got voted out. And you all saw it, I started bawling. I bawled multiple times, and when I went back to camp, I felt completely alone because at that point, we thought it was the merge at 11, and at that point, it was in a group of 11, I was literally the only one without a loved one. And how easy is that? Like, how easy is it for these group of loved ones to just come together and say, you know what? Voting him out won't piss anyone off. Let's just vote him out. So, forming relationships is always important, and we all need to do that constantly. But I did feel like it was especially important to make sure that I was talking to people and like really trying to let them know that I don't need to be just an expendable vote. Like, I can work with you and I can help you achieve your goals, and we can be a mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay. Francis, you are also someone now that is without a loved one. There was a lot of emotion from you last tribal council having to say goodbye to your mom. How much does that change your game plan moving forward?
It changes a lot. At this point, my plan was to move forward with my mom, not necessarily for the rest of the game, but to see foreseeable future. And I think part of planning your loved ones out here is that you have to think about everything that you do to potentially come back on them. And that's not a concern anymore. I'm just here by myself. That's something that all most of these people see also have to keep considering. So it doesn't necessarily change what I want to do in the foreseeable future, but definitely the way that I play.
Okay. There's a couple of you, Connor, Casey, Mel, Anthony, that won out the last 2 challenges last night and then also won this morning, so you haven't been to Tribal Council in a while. Mel, specifically for you, how much has the pace and the vibe of this game changed since the last time you were here?
Well, the pace is a little bit up and down, right? Because we go from the rain and pouring and then just trying to survive aspect. And then I feel like we had a long morning of some relaxing times and hanging out and bonding with each other. And then we went from the immunity right to 10 people scrambling. And the 10 people scrambling was pretty stressful. There was a lot of different things going on, and this is I don't know, I feel like a lot of lines will be drawn and questions are coming up, and what is the right timing? A lot of factors are going into this vote.
Louis, Mel brings up a good point. Today there will be a lot of lines being drawn, but what are those lines? Are those original tribes, swap tribes, loved ones? What do you think is going to be kind of the deciding factor of the lines being drawn?
I don't know the deciding factor, but it's a difficult point because this is the first time we're here all together. So you have new people that you've been working with, you have people that your loved ones are working with, you have people that you've been working with since day one. So it's challenging to figure out what direction to go and how to stay loyal but also strategic, and keep yourself safe, which is important for me today.
Some more whispering going on between Anthony and Mel. But moving forward, Ethan and Caitlin, at your guys' last tribal council this morning, you're really thrown out as a big threat. Do you think that consistency is going to trickle on through this tribal council as well? Whoever.
I think that anybody can be a threat to anybody. Threat can be defined as a different thing to everybody. It could be strategic specifically, or social, or physical. It could be different combinations of the two, and it can be none of them even. You can use people as pawns, which I don't want to do in this game. I want to make close bonds with people, and I want to play this game. So to saying I'm a threat, I feel like reduces everything that the entire tribe has worked for, because everybody's playing out for this game, and so to signal what's the word? Signal to people out I think would be a mistake in this game.
Okay.
Single, thank you.
Connor, clearly you have an immunity, so you are enjoying your hardly earned reward, and you don't have much to worry about right now. But Joe and Andy, you seem to be kind of, huddled in with the food, and I know the smoke is probably a contributing factor, but seem to maybe not be as much in tune with what's going on over here. Is that an indication that you both feel safe?
Never feel safe.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question was maybe that you weren't as much paying attention to what's going on over here, which is a tad ironic. Is that an indication that maybe you feel safe?
Not necessarily. It seems like there's some chaos going on, and there was some last-minute conversation, so I feel like I need to maybe make sure I'm in the know.
Everybody raise your hand if you feel like you're in the know right now. Do you know what's going to happen, or feel pretty good that you know what's going to happen at this vote? Okay. Does anybody want to clear up that confusion, or are we ready to vote?
I want to clear it up.
Okay.
I also want to talk about, because Ethan got to answer the question, but I feel like I didn't get to talk about
Yeah, absolutely.
about the challenge, I don't know, threats. I feel like I've been called out as a challenge threat to people.
if I was a challenge threat, I don't think I would have went to the last 4 tribal councils and lost my legs of the race, or 3, and then this one. I did not win my leg of the race. A lot of people wait until merge to turn on their challenge beast prowess or their strategic prowess or whatever to save themselves. I guess you guys can see what I can do and what I can't do. I think I've been pretty clear. I haven't won every single thing that I've done, but I feel like I've also been as clear with people as I can. So I guess if you want to consider me a challenge threat, sure. I don't feel so much like a strategic threat right now, because I feel like I've laid all my cards on the table to everybody who I had a chance to talk to.
Okay. Anyone else? It is time to vote. Andy, I'll actually have you start over here from this side.
All right, so we will head away from the tribal council area to just go talk about what we have just heard. All right, as always, we are heading up this little baby hill and we are gonna talk about stuff. A lot of players to vote. It'll be obviously the first merge, so there are 11 players voting. So please ask me questions. We have quite a bit of time we'll have to fill, and I only have so much content to share with you right now. So help me out. Send me some questions. Oh, all right. Okay, we are nearing the top where we normally hang out. Okay, so all right, so okay, all right, well, we are back here. So as we saw, something that we don't normally see at a tribal council right off the bat, Connor, Andy, and Joe getting to eat while the rest of the merge tribe did not. And that is because at the very first challenge of the merge, it was both immunity and reward. So Connor won, and sorry, I'm so tired, y'all. I'm sorry. So the puzzle answer for the challenge was a feast for 3. And so Connor got to pick 2 more people, so it was Andy and Joe. So the 3 of them were eating. There was no merge feast. The players did get a little teensy breakfast this morning as a reward for making it through the entire rainy day and night last night. So our players have eaten a little bit. They do have rice, but that's really hard to cook in super rainy weather, which is why they got a little bit of breakfast this morning. But no, there's not a lot of food rewards. It's a 4-day game, and so there's not like a ton of food rewards for this game. Let's see, so as far as names that I have heard, I have really only heard a few. So that is why there's not a ton to talk about. Obviously we heard that in our last tribal council we attended, and the only tribal council for the blue game of the Swap Tribe, Ethan and Caitlin were both called out as being major threats by Gina and Francis, but particularly Gina before being thrown out, and that echoes of like both of their reputations in game has kind of rippled and echoed throughout the merge. So as we saw, Caitlin and Ethan both very vocal in this tribal council, both trying to combat the idea that they are a threat. And so I don't know how successful they were, because both of them are potential targets for this round. There is also the possibility of Francis getting targeted. Obviously, it is always a big kind of move when someone votes out their mom, as made very famous by Sierra Easton. in one of the Survivor seasons, and Francis did just that at the Swap Tribe vote, so which Gina was apparently not expecting. So Gina not expecting the vote from her daughter Francis, and so that of course is always pretty threatening because it shows that a player is cutthroat enough to you know, cut that bond with their mom, and a thought being, hey, if you're voting your mom that you love and birthed you, well, of course you're gonna cut me, who you just met a few days ago. So there is that as well. Of course, Casey, another player without a loved one, as well, alongside Francis. So yeah, let's see. In other news, Melanie has I want to say idol from the very first day, and as a result it is on everyone's radar that she has it, so they're kind of like thinking about that, but no one's wanting to address it just yet. And I have also heard that people are eyeing Louis as a possible threat to take care of down the line, but I don't know that they're feeling like this round is the round to strike. Louis actually has very little Survivor experience. It's his fiance Connor who is the big Survivor fan, and Louis is just kind of out here in support of that. But Louis has been a really fun surprise in that he has been like a leader in the pre-merge on his tribe. He's been killing the puzzles. He found an extra vote that he used yesterday, and so that's been super fun to watch. So oh, thank you, Gina. So Gina is saying that she sort of knew the vote from Francis was coming and is totally fine with it. Thank you, Gina, for cluing us all in. Gina's still on site watching all the action as it unfolds. All of our pre-jury players are always invited to stay on site and watch everything and hang out and do puzzles after they are done and all that good stuff. Let's see. So yeah, people are asking what alliances are forming, and that is a great question that I do not have an answer to. This blue game has been super messy, pretty chaotic, and all over the place. And as of right now, it is not super clear if there's like actual alliances forming. Of course, we saw in the pre-merge, the kind of narrative was that this core alliance was formed that we've talked about pretty much every round, but if it's looking like perhaps that's no longer going to hold. Obviously Gina, the mastermind behind that, is gone, and you know, they voted out Andy, you know, who was in that alliance, so I don't know how strong that alliance was, and so I think there's a lot of room for players to form new connections. And again, this game has been one world, so even though people have been on tribes together and, you know, maybe working together here and there, with one world it's like one of those things, you can't really rely on tribal lines as much as some players do in other games, because yeah, they matter, and yeah, you're competing together, and sure, you have those moments, but you really do have access to everyone in the game, so it's a matter of kind of, you know, feeling out who you're bonding with, whether or not you're getting to test those bonds and that trust. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just taking a peek over there to see if I can see who's voting, to see how much time we have left. Fun little background tidbit, since I can't think of anything else right now. As I said earlier, the Blue Games puzzle ended with a feast for 3. However, they kind of yelled it too loudly so that the red game, we think, heard. So then we had to completely change the puzzle with the same letters. So I think theirs was here to feast instead of a feast for 3. So I'm assuming they got it. I don't know, but yeah, that was like a fun little thing to deal with. Also, I would say the biggest villain of this tribal council right now is the fire that we made in the middle of the tribal council area. We thought we were being cool and tribally and outdoorsy, and instead the smoke and the ash was like hitting the players in the face. I'm sure you saw a lot of them reacting to it in real time, and in fact I'm told that host Kelsey actually got burned on the fire minutes ago while we were over here. So don't worry, we have medical on site taking care of her. But yeah, Lisa asking if we can get a sneak peek of the players at camp later. Normally I like to do like a little camp life video where you guys can see kind of camp life and what's going on. I'm happy to do that. This has been a unique season, with camps that were moved from way down here where we are at Tribal, all the way up the hill to near the challenge field. So usually players make like a super homey little like cute area and give like a grand tour. But this season has been a little odd in that they had to completely transplant to avoid floodwaters from low ground and go up to high ground. And then it rained so much that even though they had tarps, the tarps were really more of like a let's keep our stuff dry or let's lay on them to keep our bodies dry, and less of a cute little like camp moment. But we can definitely still check in with them just so you guys get the lay of the land, even if it'll be a little sad. But the players are definitely making the best of it. I know Gina was talking earlier about, you know, all the 7 bodies just like huddled together for warmth on top of a tarp, and so the players are, you know, being excellent sports. They're all here to play, they're all happy for the experience, and so we're really grateful that despite the crazy rain we had all of yesterday, you know, it didn't dampen their resolve. Sorry for the pun, I couldn't help it. Let's see, I'm just taking a look at who's coming back. Okay, we've got maybe 3 more players left to vote. So thank you so much for the questions. I'm so happy you're asking them. I love for this to be as interactive as possible so that you guys are in the know, included. Sorry. I'm tired. Hello. Our other live streamer for the Red Game is walking by. Look and fly. Okay. Let me see what else. I don't know, y'all. I'm running out of gas. I'm running out of ideas. How late do we think we will go tonight? I'm hoping not super late. Just to give you an idea of what's going on for the day. We kind of had to mix things up a little bit because we had a player drop at the end of the night last night. So instead of the original plan was 5 rounds of the game today, but instead we're only doing 4 rounds. So this is technically the conclusion of the 2nd round. So there should be 2 more immunities and 2 more tribal councils today. So hopefully we don't go as late as yesterday because everyone is very tired, including me. So I am like fervently hoping that we're done by like 9 or 9:30, so that we can do the recap show for the day tonight instead of in the morning again. But we will see. So yeah, where it's been really fun, but really a lot to run 2 games at the same time. So it's normally we'll have like a schedule and we'll be like, okay, this time this time this time this, but because we're having to do everything twice every time, it's just kind of one of those like, you know, we're figuring it out as we go. And since, fun fact, since the blue game is always first with everything, their stuff typically will take the longest because we have to set it up and like get it all ready and get everyone, you know, understanding what's going on. And then by the time the red game comes, 2nd game, everything is already set in position, so it gets to go faster. So, oh my God. All right, so I'm going to start heading back to the Tribal Council area. Again, thank you for all the questions. And we will head back and see who the first merch boot will be. Okay, I think we've got maybe one player left to vote, so we're making good time. Oh, actually, so something I haven't gotten to tell y'all at all, but it dawns on me now, so we're gonna pause so I can tell you. So, night one, yeah, I know we're rewinding a day and a half now. So night one, we ended the night, right before we left for the day, or like called it, you know, a day. We left the players with a little spooky ghost story. And it involved a kind of like hatchet murder on the loose in the woods up here in Maine. And so we let them listen to that story before saying goodnight to them. And I believe we let them listen to it again this morning, because is today day 3? I'm sorry. Yikes. I think we got, yeah, I think we let them listen to it again this morning because at some point, I believe later today, they will be competing in a challenge about that story. So I hope they were paying attention. And little fun fact, so as I mentioned, hatchet murder, which means that we have decorated Tribal Council a little bit spooky, and I'm going to show you all the hatchet that Brandon, our host, stuck in a tree to really like freak players out. Carrie asking how many people are working this. I'm gonna guess like 15-ish of us, which is normally like enough to run one game, but we're running 2 with the same amount of people, so it's been an adventure. Yeah, anyway, all right, I will show you guys the tribal area now because we are back. And for those that might have missed it, because I've only showed it once so far, part of the Tribal Council aesthetic is this very unsettling bird cage with what would normally be very precious and adorable pairs loved one photos, but because they're hanging in a scary bird cage and are sepia tone, in my opinion, they are more unsettling than adorable. All right, host Kelsey is off to tally the votes now, and the Blue Merge tribe can only wait. So we've got everyone just sitting silently and waiting for the results. And making strange faces for the live stream. That was more commentary and less prompt, but feel free. Joe playing peekaboo with the live stream. And I see we might have doused the fire that was causing so much drama earlier. I don't know. Or it might have just burned out a little bit. No idea. All right, and Kelsey has now returned with the votes.
If anybody has an idol or advantage and would like to play one, now would be the time to do so.
So, following the haunted theme, I got sucked into playing this.
Okay. Caitlin, would you like to read the note aloud? Oh, don't. Here,
Congratulations, you found the haunted hidden immunity idol. Rules. This hidden immunity.
How about you just read the... So this is a hidden immunity idol. Any votes cast for Caitlin will not count. Just read the bottom part for me. It says, be warned.
Oh gosh, I didn't read this whole thing. Okay, when played, this idol must negate the votes of the player who is supposed to go home. If played incorrectly, you will lose your vote at the following tribal council.
Okay, so to confirm, this is a hidden immunity idol. All votes for Caitlin.
Can you say that
If she did not play it for the highest vote getter at the tribal council, then she will lose her vote at the next tribal. Yes. I'll play mine for myself. Is a Union Idol. All votes for Mel will not count. Okay, I'll read the vote.
Yes, Brienne.
Sorry, I'm like one-handed because I'm bad.
Here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. First vote, Caitlin. Does not count. Second vote, Caitlin. Does not count. Okay, this could be amazing. I'm sorry. Third vote, Caitlin. Does not count. 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 First member voted out of this tribe. Louie. That's enough. Please bring me your torch.
See you guys.
If you bring your torch, have your moment right there behind Andrew. Perfect. Still can't quite get them lit yet, but we are working on it. Yeah, it's this time. Louie? Try this, okay. All right, we will follow Louie out to get some last words with Louie. All right, Louie, we're still on the live stream. We're just gonna go up the way a little bit here, and then it'll be your chance to kind of share your thoughts and anything that's on your mind.
Yes, I had a feeling Caitlin was voting for me or Melanie, which was smart of her to play her idol to save her. Caitlin at the last minute was like basically telling me what changed, why you're not voting with me, and I told her like just tell me what to do, and I was like I've never said I wouldn't not work with you. I want to work with you. I want to work with her from the very beginning. So for her to have the opportunity to blindside maybe someone else, let's say she wants to work with me, it just seems disingenuous, but that's okay. That's the name of the game. It was a good move on her part. She clearly, I think she even got her brother voted for her, so like he was even bought in and wanted to stick with the pack because it was obvious that everyone was voting for her. And I told her straight up, I was like, I want to go with the numbers unless you have something better. And she couldn't produce anything, which is her biggest flaw in the game. She's slow to come up with a strategy, but she's really good at the challenges. So that is going to be a big issue for her. But this was a big move for her, and I'm sure I'll see her next week at Ponderosa.
All right, Louie, thank you for all of those thoughts. Obviously, you made it really far into the game. We're about halfway through day 3. So you got to experience a lot out here. I would love to know maybe what is one thing that surprised you about the experience.
I'm like, I get emotional right now. I'm like very proud of myself because
Absolutely.
Last night was miserable. Like sleeping outside, like I've never slept outside before. All my friends, family, coworkers all joke like, how are you gonna do that? You've like never gone camping, you never done anything like that. So I really just did Sir Potter and just say his thing. And I'm just like proud of myself.
Absolutely, and you completely should be. And you stole my next question because I was going to tell you, you do have just so much to be proud of. I know going in you were saying Survivor's not your thing, and yet you emerged as which I've said on the live stream several times, you emerged as a leader on your tribe. You were a huge puzzle champion. You were finding advantages. I mean, you really had a huge full game experience.
That's what I told myself. I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And like it's totally out of my comfort zone, but it's emotional because like I know like Connor's a really big threat on him, and I hope that like it sucks that I can't like help him, but I hope that the alliances that we created like continue. So that's that.
Absolutely. And maybe what is one thing you learned about yourself out here?
That I can do hard things.
Hell yeah.
And I am a little bit more coordinated than I think I am.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, you and Connor both raised tons of money for your charity, so this is your chance to shout them out.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
Thanks to everyone that donated. It means a lot. It helped me get to where I am today in the game, and that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Louie, and congratulations again on an incredible game played. I'm going to let you go, and we will just maybe walk away from the live or from Louie for a second. So, y'all, are y'all feeling as hashtag Survivor blindsided as I am? Because, oh my God, what the hell? I had absolutely no idea Kaitlyn had an idol, let alone the cursed idol that had she played it incorrectly would have bitten her, but she played it exactly right. Oh my God, so exciting. And she was the sole vote for Louie, sending him home. That was wild. I can't wait to hear more about that so that I can share that with all of you at the next probably tribal council chat time that we have. So thank you so much for tuning in, and again, thank you so much for all the questions. They were fabulous. We're gonna have the red game tribal council go, and then we will be back with another challenge for the blue game. So see y'all a little bit later today.